What is up YouTube? I'm Royal, I'm rank 1 in Wild Rift, and in this video I will be giving you the new meta champions and builds for patch 6.1. This patch we've had some massive changes, new items, a new champion, and the buffed Ionian boots. So I wanted to give you the best new builds you can run on these new meta champions. So let's get started with how some champions are completely abusing the Ionian boots of lucidity. Ionian boots have been the weakest boots for a while now, but they have received a huge buff. They now grant 150% mana regen, just like the boots of mana. And this is a massive buff because a lot of champions before wanted to build the ability haste from the Ionian boots, but they couldn't make good use of them because they kept spamming their spells, their low cooldown spells, and that cost a lot of mana. But now you get you get the best of both worlds, low cooldowns and infinite mana. So let's take a look at the best champions for abusing these buffed boots, starting off with our main dog, Nasus. Nasus's first ability is an empowered attack that permanently and infinitely stacks more and more damage as you use it to last hit minions and champions. You get permanently 5 extra damage on your first ability for minions killed, and 10 extra damage for big minions, monsters, and enemy champions. So, the more often you have this ability up, the more often you can use it to last hit minions, and then your first ability will do more and more damage. The main issue before this patch was that if Nasus went Ionian Boots of Lucidity, yes, he would stack quicker, but he would use up way too much mana. But with the buffs to the Boots of Lucidity and the massive buff to his first ability a couple patches ago, Nasus is currently dominating the Baron lane. He's able to stack his first ability extremely quickly, giving him massive damage once the laning phase is over. And on top of his first ability being able to be stacked extremely quickly, his other two abilities are also really broken. The slow and the attack speed slow on his second ability is so oppressive and lasts for way too long. So having it off cooldown more often while not having to worry about the mana if you're spamming it, so you never run out of mana while spamming it, right? It's extremely valuable for Nasus. Nasus's preferred boot enchant, Glory, was also recently buffed. So now you can run down your enemies with Glory, slow them with your second ability, and whack them with your first ability that's insanely stacked and never run out of mana doing so. Pretty much everything about Nasus has been buffed recently, so expect to see him a lot more often and expect to see him absolutely dominating. For your build, rush Ionian Boots of Lucidity, then go for Trinity Force and Sunderer Sky. For the rest of your items, you can pick up whatever situational tank items you might need, but keep in mind that Spirit Visage synergizes great with your passive, Grasp, and Sunderer Sky. For your runes, you're of course going to go Grasp and tanky runes with Transcendence to have even more ability haste. And for your summoner spells, pick up Flash and Ghost to chase down your enemies. However, Cleanse can also work in some matchups. Transitioning all the way from the Baron lane to the Dragon lane, we have not one, but two broken champions that can be played as a duo in the Dragon lane, and that's Seraphine and Sona. Seraphine Sona has always been extremely strong duo because of how well their abilities synergize together. And due to Ionian Boots being OP again, this lovely duo no longer relies on tier or boots of mana for their mana needs. They're allowed to build Ionian Boots and have infinite mana with extremely low cooldowns. This allows them to synergize their abilities. Sona shields everyone, Seraphine's second ability here heals everyone. Sona's passive and Glacial Augment slows enemies, Seraphine's third ability roots them. Their ultimates are also very oppressive in a wombo combo scenario in teamfights, leading to insanely strong combos and especially team fighting with the AoE shields and AoE CC. Additionally, the new GLP enchant can be used by Seraphine to make her root easier to land, but Locket or Stasis will work just fine. The main issue with this combo is your team composition. Especially when you're playing Seraphine Sona in the duo lane, you want your team to pick frontline bruisers with AD damage, right? Because you're missing the AD carry. So in other roles, you want to have frontline bruisers that mostly deal physical damage, and you can shield them up, speed them up, and they can dominate. but if your team does pick bruisers, it's pretty much a free win. So get your duo or get your 5 stack and abuse Seraphine Sona bot lane immediately. In lane, you can easily just wave clear and poke from a distance, and once you group up with your team, it's impossible to lose teamfights. Seraphine will be the main farming champion, itemizing for ability, haste and damage, while Sona is gonna be going full support items. If you want to on Seraphine, you still can get some mostly support items, but I found that going somewhat AP will help out your team comp if you do have those frontline physical bruisers, in case you're lacking magic damage, right? Before I move on, please comment down below what broken builds you're using this patch. Such a big update will definitely make a lot of room for some crazy OP builds, so please comment them down below. Next up, let's look at the new champion, Ryze. And there really isn't that much to say, right? I'm not sure if most of you have even witnessed how broken Ryze is because of his insanely high ban rate. This champion just needs a damage nerf ASAP. If you want more details on why Ryze is so OP and why to build on him, just check out my full Ryze video. Let's instead move on to champions that you can play, and that's the Malignance champions. Malignance is a new item that reduces the cooldown of your ultimate. It also creates a little pool under the champions you've damaged with your ultimate, dealing damage and reducing their magic resist. This is obviously very broken on champions that are ultimate reliant. I'm gonna mention and break down a few of the best Malignance champions on this video, but keep in mind that I'm not gonna be talking about every single one since there's a lot of broken Malignance champions. Starting off with Ahri. Ahri is extremely ultimate reliant, so having her ultimate up more often is a pretty big buff. But more than that, she's able to proc the Malignance several times with her ultimate, since you get 3 charges plus 1 for each takedown while using it. Your playstyle with Malignance relies more on roaming, since you have access to your ultimate more often. Use your first ability to quickly clear the wave and look for roams. Also keep in mind that the buffed Boots of Mana make your wave clear even better, so this playstyle works better. Also, the new enchant GLP is incredibly good with Ahri. You can ult to gain range, use the GLP for the slow to make your charm more reliable and easier to hit so you can get more picks. For your build, rush the Boots of Mana, then Malignance, Infinity Orb and Death Cap. Your last couple of items are situational, but Crown is usually the best choice. For your runes, go Electrocute for stronger early game trades and Burst. Another champion that loves Malignance is Annie. Annie is another champion that was buffed a few patches ago, but is only now becoming more popular with the introduction of Malignance. Annie is very ultimate reliant to get those huge AoE stuns and let Tibbers destroy the enemy team. The unfortunate thing, and I don't know if this is intended or not, is that the second part of Annie's ultimate actually doesn't proc Malignance. I'm assuming this is a bug, but it might just be intended. Anyway, Malignance is still incredibly good on Annie because you can have Tibbers up more often. For your build, similar to Ahri, rush Boots of Mana, Malignance, then Infinity Orb, and finally Death Cap. The rest of your items are situational. For runes, make sure you have Electrocute. Since Annie is very flash dependent to get those massive flash ultimates off, you can also go for Ionian Boots instead of Boots of Mana. You will be lacking damage and relying on your team to follow up, however you're gonna have your flash ultimate up more often. The last Malignance champion I want to talk about is Teemo. Teemo did receive some nerfs on the patch before this one on his burst damage, but he has received some very nice movement speed buffs since the last patch, like most mages. The addition of Malignance has taken Teemo from an ambush assassin to an extremely annoying little rat that places shrooms everywhere. If you place your shrooms correctly around objectives, it becomes impossible for the enemy team to do anything. Then you sweep the area to get rid of the shrooms, but of course your team is not just gonna allow them to do that, and that's your chance to fight. For your build, you will get a typical AP Teemo build with Riftmaker or Infinity Orb, then get Liandry Stormet, and then you can get Deathcap or Malignance, and then get Deathcap or Malignance depending on what you didn't get. Obviously, there's some more OP builds this patch that I'm leaving out, so please comment them down below. But these are some new champions and builds you can try out in your games. Let me know if you enjoyed this type of video and if you would like me to make more for the following patches with the new meta champions and builds that pop up. Please leave a like and subscribe for more Wild Rift videos.